The podcast you are listening to of Holmberg's Morning Sickness is brought to you by my friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Trust me on this one. You've had barbecue before, but you haven't had it this good. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale, ericsfamilybbq.com.
When was the last time you had really good Texas-style barbecue? Eric's Family Barbecue, the way it's supposed to taste. Always delicious, never rushed, and prepared to perfection. Eric's Family Barbecue uses only 100% fresh meat, slowly smoked over mesquite wood until it's juicy and delicious. We all know their brisket is the best, but have you tried their pulled pork, pork ribs, or rib tips? Amazing, and their sides are all house-made. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Make the trip. You won't be sorry. Go to ericsfamilybbq.com for more information.
This man needs medical attention.
Holmberg's Morning Sickness.
The old method of treatment for a person in this condition was to throw him in jail.
Good morning, everybody. Hello there. Welcome to Wednesday. It's 5:45. This is the Morning Sickness. My name's John Holmberg. There's Brady Bogan, Brett Vesley, Big Dick Toledo, off and running and ready to go. Hot mics, boys. Hot mics. A lot of hot mic problems going on in the world right now. Fauci calling guys morons, those Australians that
He's been saying that for years.
Yeah, of course he has. And the guy was kind of a moron. And then, of course, the thing that's going on in Australia. I don't understand. Brady, you watch tennis. I don't know if you're paying attention to the Joker. He's catching a lot of heat. He went down to Australia, and he's not vaccinated to try to win the Australian Open, which it's summer there. So they're having their tennis tournament, and it's one of the big 4 Grand Slam tournaments, right?
Yeah.
So you go down to Australia, and you're like, you got to be vaccinated to play. He's like, I'm not, but I had COVID a couple months ago, and I'm good. And then they kicked him out, and then he got back in. And everybody's coming down on him, and some Australian news people were like, gosh, just selfish asshole. That's all. Selfish asshole. Just trying to ruin the entire event. Hi, welcome back to Full News. And I'm like, well, they were – I don't – explain it to me because –
Well, as I understand it, the reason why I think the media's all over him is he did an interview with an Australian journalist. He was positive. He had COVID.
Oh, okay.
And I think
I didn't know that.
And he went on his Instagram.
Wasn't this a while ago, though?
I don't know when it was. I just heard the tail part of it today because I think the problem is he denied or tried to Aaron Rodgers.
Tried
to get around the vaccination thing to get in there, and then came back and like, okay, yeah, I want to apologize. I was positive when I took the interview with the journalist,
and he knew it.
Yes.
Oh, that is being a dick. Okay, I didn't know that part. I just thought they were just trying to because I don't think.
But as far as the policy of him being in there, and little
because Stern's all over him, and news outlets are crushing the guy. And then Australia had to let him back in, and then he said he did something. I didn't know he did an interview while he was positive. If you know you're positive and you're hanging out with people, that is kind of a dick move. But the whole vaccine thing, I don't understand, because even, I don't know, our whole building is vaccinated, and there's 14 people out.
Yeah.
So, and a couple of them aren't, but
and right now,
so it doesn't keep you from getting it or having it, and I know that's the case.
It doesn't matter with the
So why is everybody so mad at him? It doesn't matter with any of them. You can still catch it.
Right, now that we know that.
Yeah, but, I mean, it just helps you. I thought it just helped me. And just helped me not have to go to the hospital, so it helps the hospital. That was the whole point. And now they're saying, if you're not vaccinated, you can't even play. I'm like, doesn't that just help him?
But it was, when it comes down to it, the vaccination, underneath was sold necessarily as, I got it, I can't get it now if I get the vaccination.
I didn't get it like that. I've never.
Well, it certainly was perceived that way.
I always understood it as if you get it, it's just going to make it so nothing really bad happens. Like the chances you have anything bad happening are huge. Yeah, you weren't immune to anything. I've always said that's just in the word vaccine. It's just, it's a deterrent.
I'll say
now.
Most people figured, I've got the vaccination.
Yeah, but isn't
I
it
can
weird?
go out and about and I can do my thing.
Isn't that the problem then? Is that most people figured, and then when they found out, I wasn't right, they fought back instead of just going, I was wrong. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah, well,
everybody lost their
mind.
Ooh, I'm screaming and yelling at the world because I thought something else. Well, you were wrong.
Yeah.
So just deal with it. There's nothing you can do about screaming and yelling. You were wrong. So deal with it. But I don't understand why he can't play in a tennis tournament without a vaccine, other than interviewing somebody positive. I don't know why you can't play football or baseball without the vaccine. It only protects you.
If the tournament, the Australian Open, has certain
Yeah,
protocols.
it's a rule. I get that, but I'm
So,
trying.
and that's maybe where it comes
But
from.
I'm trying to figure
rules,
out why, though. Like he said, I'm not vaccinated. It's like, okay, well, he can't go.
Yeah.
He's not a super spreader by himself. He's no different than anyone else when it comes to that. It's just if it gets him, he's not vaccinated. That's basically it.
Yeah.
So I mean, he can clog up a hospital bed or do something if it gets really, really bad. But chances are he's not gonna. I just don't. I'm all for getting the shot, but I also am like kind of. This is where the misinformation part comes in. It's like he can still go places and he can still do stuff. He's not any more capable of spreading it than I am.
When it first came out, they were, not letting him play and doing all this stuff. I kind of was siding with the Joker on him.
Yeah.
Like, well, this is kind of ridiculous. But then, because he is not liked, even though he's a number one player in
He's
the world.
a dick. That's why.
He's
an ice-cold human
Who is
being.
the Joker? I mean, I know I'm not the only non-tennis guy here,
Yeah.
so people are probably wondering.
What's his first name? It's Djokovic, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know his first name.
I always call him the.
Yeah.
I mean, I can look him up. I was just curious.
Yeah, he's a big deal. This would have been his. I think he's got 20 Grand Slam wins or something close to that.
Yeah.
The guy's a beast. He's a monster, maybe the best of all time.
But he's just a dick.
He's an ice. He's like every other superstar ever that gets to that level. He's just a singularly focused. I don't care about anything else.
He gets that rap.
He
of
is
being
that. You ever watch him? He just stares at people. If you're talking about anything else with him, he's got no personality. He's got nothing. He comes across as an ice cold tennis machine, which kind of makes you, as a personality, a dick.
He's actually more animated. The other thing is he's been in the era of his tennis has been, Rafa and Federer,
Boring people.
and he's been in there.
Yeah.
And he's crushing all of their records.
Right.
But he doesn't get the acknowledgement.
Because he doesn't play along. Like, he's not a fun dude.
So is he a McEnroe type guy? Like
No.
just getting pissed off at everybody?
He's animated. He'll joke on the court, but he'll just.
But it's smarmy. He's smarmy. Kind of got that icy. He knows he's better than you.
Makes you feel
smug.
dumb.
Yeah, he's got a. He makes you feel dumb, and he's not even talking. He's that guy, and he's like, this guy's making me feel stupid, and I can't figure out. People hate him because they think he's something, but that's his perception. I don't know. I don't know what he's like as a person. I don't know anybody does. But when he's an unlikable superstar. He's LeBron without all the mouth.
Oh, okay.
He's that unlikable, like, God, you're great. You could be like America's sweetheart, but you just refuse to be likable. He's punchable. And I think that isn't helping him. I think that's the big thing, because he went down there and said, no, I'm not vaccinated, and I'm still showing up. And they told him before, in fairness to the Australians, they said, hey, it's our rule. You come here, we're going to turn your ass around in the airport and send you back. And they tried it, and instead of just going, I can't play in this year's Australia, he just showed up. And he's like, all right, dickhead, we told you. And I always tell people, like, it's a stupid rule. Yeah, but it's still a rule. It's like the pot rule for years.
Yeah.
We all agreed it was dumb. But if you got with pot, who was the dumb one? You were. Oh, it's a dumb rule. Yeah, but it's still a rule, you idiot. If you get caught with it, you're still dumb. You're the dummy. So
Novak Djokovic.
Novak Djokovic.
Yeah.
The Joker.
The Joker.
And that's always, I don't know. I don't watch any tennis either. I just kind of follow like who wins what, because I think he's fascinating. I think Nadal's horrifically like annoying. I think he's the one everybody should hate. And then the other guy, Federer, he's another machine of boredom. Like, tennis is filled with amazing players that are so boring.
And some of their points are, if you go back in their matches, are amazing.
Incredible if you like tennis. But it's like watching a video game. They're not human. They're robots
with some of the shots that they hit.
There's robots of the sport. They're just kind of like, okay, well, there's not a lot of anything else other than their game to watch and like. And then this. But he's so mad at him. And I just got to thinking.
And again, the main reason is he didn't quarantine himself after being tested. And that's what now he's saying. He admitted, okay,
I was positive and I did.
Yeah.
I went out and I broke protocol and all that. And that part I get, being a dick. But the vaccination thing that was the big stir in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm not understanding that. Because we just had and the reason I bring this up is because we just had this in our building. Where now it's like you have to show your vaccination card to get in here. You have to be part of this. You have to be, in concerts and things like that. You have to have.
It's like an outing.
We had a meeting yesterday. I sat with Larry and we're talking about our U Fest, and it's a comeback U Fest. We're doing like this thing where bands are tough to get right now. They're hard to corral. Some are like, "Well, is it going to be an all-vax show? Is it going to be a?" They're like, "Oh God, we got to deal with that." And you got to talk to their management and. find out what these guys want. And then another band is like, well, if it's an all-vax show, we won't play. So then you find out that another band try to put 7 or 8 bands on the same lineup right now.
On the same page.
On the same page, exactly. You try.
Impossible.
You just give a call and say, hey, this band here, hey, Puddle of Mud. Oh, boy. You guys want to come out and be part of our show? And it's like, sure, we'll do it so long as it's an all-vax show. And then you got another band who's bigger than Puddle of Mud. You've already signed Puddle of Mud, and you're like, this will be great. And they say, if you require a card, we won't play. I'm like, okay, now what do we do? Because we'd rather have them than this,
right?
And so then you kind of call Puddle of Mud back and say they won't play. If it's just them, we won't play. Larry's been going through that for a month and a half. So to get the bands together, it's like, you know what? Let's just get a bunch of fun bands that want to do this and don't require it. But the venue now that we're doing this with requires a vaccination card proof to get in or a test right there.
Then you can say, well, it's on the venue.
And it is. And it is on the venue, and that's fine.
And that's what we were saying, when we went to the...
Pain in the ass.
Sebastian Bach was the same way, yeah.
It's a pain in the ass. Sebastian Bach should put 0 hurdles in front of people going to a show.
Exactly.
Like people
I don't think that's him, though.
I know.
Yeah.
But still, he should have said, I won't play a venue that requires that because it's going to keep people away. And the last thing Sebastian Bach needs is people not showing up because he needs every warm body that'll go in. I'm struggling with that whole thing. But, yeah, we're trying to put all this stuff together, and it's a pain in the ass.
But our thing is kind of, when I was saying it's like an outing, all of a sudden we have the requirement of the card and everything. I understand the company wanting to make sure.
Sure.
But it basically, if you're going to create any
you're causing
commotion
trouble. You're
or
outing
cause
people.
trouble, yeah.
But that's the thing. Nobody...
Is that to shame them to get vaccinated?
Nobody can't come in. The person or people here that aren't vaccinated are 0 risk. Compared, more, I guess.
Right.
They're the ones at risk. So I'm struggling with the whole idea of, like, if they're not vaccinated, how come they're punished? And how come everybody says they're the dangerous one? Like, if anything, you should have compassion for them if you care that much to say, well, they're the ones at risk. If this hits them, it could hurt them more than it would a vaccinated person.
Yeah.
I don't get this whole thing. It's driving me bananas because it's back. This mother effer is back in a big way. We shut down over numbers a tenth of what we've got right now. And that's just numbers that are reported. Now we've got home tests. I would imagine the number we see is almost double what's out there. So I don't get it.
I heard insurance guy talking about the free tests, the in-home.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to get up to 8. They talk to the insurance guy. He's like, we basically build it back into your policies.
You're going to be paying for it again. And also,
it's like in Europe, it's the same thing. They pay $3.50 for that. We make them for them, and ours are $120 or whatever.
But they're paying extra all year for things.
Yeah.
And that, to me, when an insurance company said, we'll give you a free home test starting in blah, blah, that tells me we're going to be dealing with this for another few months.
Yeah.
Because if the insurance companies see down the road that we're going to need home tests, that means this isn't going to go away for quite a while.
Well, I don't think I think it's just going to vary and it's going to change to the next one. So it's not going to go away. It's just a different version.
They just weren't ready with the stations either again.
Yeah.
So that's why
they anticipate this one.
They said
it's huge.
They said this morning on the news that it was we're supposed to hit our peak January 19th, and then we should start seeing the decline in the Omicron. And then number 27 will show up or whatever.
I don't care. I think it's great. I think it's good. Everybody will get it, and we'll all kind of cool off a little bit. But I'm glad that most people got the shot, so it's not going to be that big a deal when you do get it, and then you move on. But man, oh man, I don't get the whole sports thing though. Why are we all? And again, our building, because it's just top of mind when we walk in here. Like, how is it that if Wintermeyer didn't get the shot, and I think he did, but if he didn't, how is he any different than like years ago before we required cards? Nobody cared. So now all of a sudden the cards are out, and everybody's like, well, if he doesn't have it, I'm not going to be around him. I'm like, well, he can't give it to you any differently than the 14 people who are vaccinated and currently not at work. It's all
and
confusing.
It's rolling the dice on how you're affected by it, too.
Right.
Even with the vaccination.
Right. But most of the time, the vaccinated people are
It helps.
just fine. And that's an inarguable thing. Yeah. Whether you believe the vaccine's going to cause trouble later, that's different. We don't know. I'm with you. I don't know, but I'm willing to put that in there. It's just I don't get it because 2 days ago, prior to this card thing, nobody cared who was shot and who wasn't. And then the whispers yesterday of like, well, that person doesn't get the shot, so they shouldn't probably be here. I'm like, they've been here the whole time. Nobody said a thing. Nobody was asking. Everybody was embarrassed. Now you find out that it is. It just outed a couple of people. And they're outed because the people who aren't vaccinated here have to wear masks everywhere they go. So now it's like the scarlet letter. You can be like, nah, no shot taken, no shot taker. You point them out and go, look at you, little QAnon walking around here all mad. I don't know. It just it seems to have
that looked like a
percolated.
Quick decision. Like, it feels like, oh, why now? Like you said.
Because 13 people have it. Like, we have a ton of people that got it. And they're like, we got to find out who's in, who's out. And then put a flag in them. I know it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do a thing. You make them walk around like they're Walmart wheelchair people, where you see the flag over the top of the like there she goes. That's the unvaccinated one. She got that 14-foot flag she got to walk around with all the time. Yeah, it blacks their eye for no reason. And I'm like, well, we didn't care 2 days ago if you had a shot or not. Now that we do, suddenly there's bad guys and good guys. It just caused black hats and white hats. I really don't care. And you know what I'm going to do, because I'm into diversity and equality? I'm going to wander up to everybody in a mask and just give them a big hug. I love you, unvaccinated QAnon family member. I didn't know you were crazy. But yeah, I think the misinformation's flying around too, that unvaccinated people are more likely to just get you. That's not the case. I do think if you're unvaccinated, you should avoid crowds and stuff for your own good. But I don't care if you shot or not. Don't get the shot. Don't care. If you get sick, okay. If you're one of those people that bitches, oh, doctors are all liars and whatever, then much like I say to the people who hate the cops, don't call them when you need them. There. Problem solved. If you think doctors are all liars and you hate them for this whole thing, then don't go when you're sick. Yeah. Well, that's dumb. All right, then shut up. And just make your decision and go through and take your chances like everybody else is doing. I also read an article that I found fascinating, so much different than COVID. And this was great because it reminded me of something. Thomas Edison, the great inventor. We were talking about inventors the other day. We don't know who any inventors are anymore, but Thomas Edison, who invented like 1,000 things. When he used to interview people for a job, all he would do is push a bowl of soup in front of you and watch you eat it. Huh? And then base his decision-making
behavior on how you eat.
The one thing, if you did one thing, you were out, which is
spoon forward,
salt and pepper before you taste it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, salt and pepper before you taste it. He goes, that's
I think that's a farmer's almanac tale.
It is?
I don't know.
It's real.
But I've heard that.
Yeah. You heard that Thomas Edison did it?
I remember when you said that. I heard that he was about that, the bowl of soup on an interview.
I've never heard it before. They said that it was just discovered, Brady. You're making that up. Salt and pepper before tasting what was in their bowl. If they waited until they tasted it before proceeded with the season, Edison immediately rejected the premature seasoner. He said he didn't want employees who relied on assumptions. In his opinion, there was those who were content to abide by preconceived notions had no place in his business. Assuming it wasn't good enough, assuming it had that this is what
How
you're
could you come to that conclusion without having
knowing?
tasted?
Yeah, you didn't do any
There's
tests.
a lot of chefs that'll.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
Well, you're not supposed to salt anything a chef gives you.
Yeah, you taste it first.
You don't ever season a chef's meal. That's why most high-end restaurants don't have seasoning at the table. You don't have salt and pepper at a table at a nice restaurant because the chef's like, if I wanted it on there, it would be on there.
When you're ordering your riblets platter, you get that. You get
there. Piles of it and it pours out like water. So I thought that was fascinating because it reminded me of I had a job interview at a place, something Marble something. I can't remember what it was called. It was a restaurant when I was looking to leave Tony Roma's. I'd had it as a busboy at Tony Roma's. There had to be a better place. And my friend got us interviews at the something Marble Cafe. I think it's still out there. And the guy interviewing us was in his early 30s, and he was like this just kind of energetic guy. And he goes, all right, here's all I need you to do. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to stand, walk to the edge of that table, come back to me, and tie your shoes. I'm like, okay. And I walked to the thing, and I'm looking back, and came back and tied my shoes. And he was fine with the way I tied my shoes, wasn't happy with how I walked away, because he's like, something to the effect of, like, you didn't like being judged. You weren't confident. You were wondering what was going on. You were wondering why I was making you do it instead of just, doing it. So I was bad at following orders because, he saw me as a guy who will question him. Like, that's an interesting thing. It's probably kind of true because I'm like, what am I doing this for? You weren't doing it
You're
to
not
say,
the lamb I'm looking for.
You weren't doing it to say, look how good I'll do this job. You were looking at it to say, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
So it wasn't about me performing. It was about, what are you up to?
Why am I doing this?
Yeah. And am I doing it right? Didn't have any confidence in what I'd done. And all it was just me walking like 15 feet and back.
Put your foot on the table to tie the shoe.
No, that was, and you know what's funny is the whole time I'm like, what am I supposed to? It taught me something. Don't question your own thoughts. Guy says, here's part of the deal. I want to watch you walk over there and come back. Do it like I'm good at walking. Like what I should have done was I'm really good at walking. And all I have to do, this is part of the test. All I have to do is walk to the door and back. I do that every day. Okay. So I just wander over to, I was supposed to, and then tying my shoe, I thought, do I lift my foot up? What am I supposed to do? And I had
Crouch down, eye contact with the people at
without
the table.
without asking any question. That would have been unusual.
Yeah.
Instead, just tie your damn shoe.
Yeah.
So he's basically saying, be yourself. Don't be uncomfortable. Because in the restaurant world, somebody go get that for me. Go grab that real quick. Or go over there and get this. And you just do it. And he said, all I need you to do is walk over to that door and come back and then tie your shoe. I'm like, okay. And I did it with, and he was right. I did it with absolutely no confidence. I did it all under the idea of, what's happening? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
What does he want? Am I doing this right? And instead of just saying, I'm walking to a door, I can't mess that up. I'm bipedal. I've got this down. I know how to walk. I know how to walk back. I know how to tie a shoe. But he was basically saying I took two of the most basic elements of your life and made you question how you do it. And I never heard back from the Green Marble Cafe or whatever the hell place was called. And I was still busting tables at Tony Roma's afterwards. But I thought it was the strange. It stands out to me as just the strangest, and especially for a busboy. So I think he was looking for like a little robot, which he should. That's what busboys are, is just little gopher slaves. Everything you do, you just don't question it, just go do it. And I'm like, had he done that bowl of soup thing, I'd have passed. But I wondered if if there was salt and pepper in front of me, I'd have started looking at it like, I think I'm supposed to salt and pepper this, even though I don't do that.
I think it was the guy that invented Kodak, Eastman.
Yeah.
I think he you'd see someone coming in for an interview or whatever, and it was all on their walk.
How they walked in?
If they were slow walking, just not, they're lazy.
Lazy.
Yeah. He wanted a person that just was.
Well, there is something to your first, like when you walk in, you can own a room or you can be a slouch, kind of like, oh, this guy. Yeah. There are people who look confident just standing. I had none when I was probably 16 or 17. I had zero confidence in a job interview, and that guy just sniffed me out in a heartbeat. I thought that was crazy. And I didn't have many job interviews. In fact, it did teach me to just go to a job interview and just be. The reason I have this job is because I sat with our old boss, Chuck Artigue, at a Coco's. And I'm like,
Coco's?
Yeah, he took me to Coco's.
Well, really
Chuck.
Up.
You know how
wow.
Chuck is. I know. If
and that's schmooze.
The crazy part is if Tripp was the one courting me to come over to a radio station, I have a feeling we'd have been at Buck and Ryder, or he'd have called and said, where do you want to go? It was breakfast. In fairness, it was breakfast. It was like 11.
That was the funny thing about when Chuck and I first got together, because he's like, I'll take you to lunch. Where do you want to go?
Coco's.
And I said, no. I said, meet me at Houston's at the time. It's like, what?
I'm not going to
I never heard
Houston's. Are you insane?
Oh, geez. We went
nuts. I'll see you at Denny's, jackass, and you're paying for your meal. Then we went to Coco's in Mesa on Dobson and Baseline.
That's right by my pad, yeah.
Yeah, over by Dobson Ranch. Yep. And I'm like, I'm close to, I can get there. And he goes, all right, I like that place. Do you like it there? I'm like, I haven't been to Coco's in years, but sure, I'll go to Coco's. And it wasn't just
we went
coffee.
a couple of times after.
It wasn't just coffee and drinks. He was like, my treat. I'm like, oh gosh, thanks. Well, just hand me the $7.99 and then. So yeah, it was. But I just remember sitting there, and maybe that made it better, just because I felt like we were at a really kind of a place that was beneath me. Frankly, that's all I'm saying. I required a much more expensive lunch. That's all. But I just sat through that whole interview like, hey, here are my cards. I'm showing you my hand, and that's all there is to it. You don't have to like it, but this is it. I appreciate your being forthright. Like, okay. Coco's.
I can't believe that.
I can't believe I took the job. and then guess what? We met again 2 times at Coco's. The first Coco's was just me and Chuck. The second Coco's was me, Chuck, and the program director at the time was a guy named JJ. And JJ, me, and Chuck met there. And I remember the best part was JJ had to play like he was playing interview guy. And he was, so I have a couple other people I want to chat with. Oh, bullshit. This is our guy. And I'm like, I feel pretty safe. I feel pretty safe that I might have this job. I'm like, all right. Hey, I'll go ahead and interview, shoe shine and floor wax. We'll get back to you in a couple of days. Oh, bull. Jay was trying to play it up like, let's not get this whole
Look,
stuff.
before you get to
Just let you know, we like you, but I've got a couple other people to interview, and I'm flying them in. And he told me he was flying one guy in from Boston, and that never was going to happen. I knew from knowing Chuck for 10 minutes, I'm like, he's not paying for anybody to fly in from Boston. That's a high-end fee. Plus, he's flying him coach. That guy is not going to. But I just think about that. Something like Tripp, the way Tripp would have interviewed me would have been drastically different than Coco's, I would assume. We had to keep it secret, though. I will say that. For their sake, they had to not let people know they were chatting because Pratt was going to throw fits. And I just remember Coco's is where we hid.
It's a good hiding spot.
Yeah,
Nobody's going to find you there.
You were in plain sight, man, and nobody cares. Nobody's going to assume it's a big deal. And it really wasn't. It was a big deal for me.
You'd have been busted at Skip and Jan's.
Oh, yeah, Skip and Jan's people playing pool. Hey, man, I know all those people. Bullshit. My name's Raul Gustavo. You don't know who I am. It's my alter ego, my AKA. So, yeah, but a job interview is a weird thing, and that, it reminded me of that. But the salt, I think I would have failed the salt and pepper soup thing if it's Thomas Edison saying, all right, here, just eat this soup and we'll see what you got. All right. If the salt and pepper was there, I'd assume but then now me would be like, I don't like salt and pepper. I assume it's going to be just fine. I don't want that on there, especially beforehand. I'm a taste before. Do you salt and pepper immediately?
No.
Not at all, right?
Yeah.
Do you?
Only salads.
Oh, I wanted
just like a salad, I always pepper that up.
Well, yeah, but you're making the salad.
Right, yeah.
And pepper's different because pepper usually does not come on the salads. Or, I had a friend that would
now we're Brady's wheelhouse.
pepper French fries.
Yeah.
Like, he
really?
goes heavy on the...
Oh, I tell you what. I almost killed Megan's
And then he
dad.
peppers his ketchup.
I might have to try that, though. That actually doesn't sound bad.
Megan's parents to Steak 44 a few years ago, and he ordered a high-end cut of meat, right? Because it was all there. And when that thing arrived, I watched. Look, hookers have not done that hand motion, giving a guy a hand job, as long as he did shake that salt over that thing. And it was a good minute.
And you could see it. The salt was visible.
Not only that, you could see the salt stacking. And then he took his fork and rubbed it in. The dude eats salt. He is a salt eater, and he salts everything, like overdoes it. And I'm watching this like, that's $120-something piece of meat that you are ruining. Then I look over at his daughter, and I'm like, and she orders hockey pucks. Well done. Oh, no. Should have taken you rubes over to the Angus.
I remember the first time I saw my neighbor. I don't know if it's a New York thing or not, but it's salt in the pizza.
I don't get it.
No, I don't either.
I don't get it.
It's usually salty enough, cheese and everything.
Yeah, I don't get it. I guess that is kind of a thing, and it's kind of an interview for me. Like, if I took you guys to Steak 44 and watched you not behave properly in food, I wouldn't take you back. I think maybe that is a thing. Like, if I took you out to Steak 44 as a job interview, if you're chewing like that, and I'm like, this guy wants a job? No way. That's a good point. I wonder if Thomas Edison was just, again,
that's why they came down to the dress, when you dress for the interview.
Dress for the job.
Yeah.
That's why I was a welder. I tried to go in with the mask on and everything. It's a little premature. Yeah, so next, if you've got a job interview coming up, and none of you do because nobody ever wants to work again. We discussed that
yesterday. A bowl of soup?
Yeah, bring your own salt packet. And then just look at the guy in the eye. I don't trust that that's actually salt. But, yeah.
Did you salt at Coco's? I mean, the chefs there.
You know what? I think I just had a Diet Coke and some eggs. It's pretty hard to mess eggs up. I used to salt stuff before, but that was my dad's influence. I don't even know that we have salt at the house. I mean, cooking, but I don't know if we have it on a table. I don't think I do. We don't have a salt shaker. If we do, I don't know where it is. That's crazy. Yeah, not a big salt guy. I like it when it's right. Like, it's disappointing when you go to McDonald's and get their delicious fries, and they're perfect, but when they're unsalted and they're just potato wedge things, and then now you got to pour your own salt on and they don't stick the same way, that drives me nuts. I don't like having to salt things. That's the whole point of being a chef, isn't it? Is to make it so I don't have to do any of the seasoning.
Yeah.
You see a chef's insulted. You see him pouring salt on the thing you made. That basically means it's flavorless, and they're doing anything they can to add. Yeah, anyway, Thomas Edison. Keep that in mind. If you got to do job interviews today, go get yourself some Campbell's. Anybody salts Campbell's soup, you got yourself a high blood pressure person anyway. That guy's through the moon with cholesterol and everything else that's wrong. He's a salt machine.
Salting saltines.
Oh, yeah. You might as well just salt your salt. But yeah, Thomas Edison. What an interesting thing. And I think I would have failed it. I think I would have thought to myself, I'm supposed to salt this.
No, you would have.
No, I'd have questioned,
Oh,
it. I'd have said, I don't salt things. And there's salt and pepper. Like, part of this test is salt and pepper. Like, I would have done something dumb. I'd have fallen right into that trap of doing something I normally wouldn't do to try to see if that's what I'm supposed to do. Because I know me not salting is a thing. Pre-salters. You can't have a job with Thomas Edison anymore. He's dead anyway, so he got his, didn't he? Let's get a wake-up song. 585-9800, a good one. We'll scream it together. It's 98 KUPD. Wake up!
98.
Oh, my gosh.
98.
Shut the front door.
KUPD.
You've been listening to Holmberg's Morning Sickness Podcast, brought to you by our friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Eric'sFamilyBBQ.com.